Oi, oi, you filthy swines, get in here and sit down, and we're going to read some news. A few decades ago, I read a book called The Sixth Extinction, and the core idea basically is that humanity is responsible for the mass extinction that's going on at the moment, and we should be ruddy ashamed and do something about our nasty dirtiness and look after the animals and all that. And extinctions, I think, they happen all the time. There's so many species on the planet, but it's no excuse for not being good caretakers of the environment. But anyway, this article from the Daily Mail, written by Shivali Best. She is by far the best Shivali ever to have existed. Well done, lass. Is the Earth on track for mass extinction? More than 48,000 animals are now at risk of being wiped out, report warns. I did hear that we were in danger of losing polar bears, and then it turns out polar bears are actually quite abundant now. So I'm not sure we should worry about that so much, but let's read this article. From the dodo to the Tasmanian tiger, many majestic creatures have become extinct over the years. Now the International Union of Conservation of Nature, IUCN, has warned that 46,648 animals that could be next. Well, how many of them are beetles? Because most animals are in fact beetles. As far as I'm aware, they are the most abundant of all species on the planet. So yeah, how many of them are beetles? The IUCN has updated its red list, revealing that 3 species of Arctic seal have moved closer to extinction. Oh no. The update also warns that the majority, 61% of bird species globally, are in decline. A huge increase on the 44% risk in 2016. However, it's not all doom and gloom. Oh, thank goodness. The green sea turtle has increased in population by approximately 28%, thanks to decades of conservation action. Today's Red List update, launched at the IUCN Congress at Abu Dhabi, shines a light on both the urgent challenges and the powerful possibilities before us, said Dr. Gressel Aguilar, blah, blah, blah. While species like Arctic seals and many birds face growing threats, the recovery of the green turtle reminds us that conservation works when we act with determination and unity. So true. But also, one of the things that I've kind of felt was underlooked is the amount of species that will come in the future. And there's got to be a point of dangerous stagnation if you're obsessing over protecting what is, if you don't allow what could be to come about. So yeah, I get conservation is very important. I'm not arguing that. I'm just, let's think about the wonderful floating octopuses from 3 million AD that don't exist yet. The year's list includes 172,620 animals, 48,646 of which are threatened with extinction. 3 species of Arctic seal have moved closer to extinction, with the hooded seal now listed as endangered and the bearded seal and harp seal now listed as near threatened. Oh my goodness, they're just round the corner. Oh, Beardy and Harpy. These animals are under a variety of pressures, including shipping, noise. Hang on, what do you mean? The pressures of shipping? Are they trying to get orders out quickly? They've got to package up all their eBay orders and send them out. Where was I? Noise, oil, and mineral exploitation, hunting, and bycatch by fisheries. Okay, well, the ocean is humongous. It's bigger than you can imagine. But if you think about the entire surface area of the land, as humans, we walk upon the land pretty much with only not much vertical movement, but most creatures live on the land. The actual viable living space is pretty limited really to the height of the highest trees. And what I'm trying to get at is in the ocean, there's a lot more space for things to be alive than there is on the land, not including the fact that there's far more ocean than there is dry land. So when you're talking about noise and, mineral exploitation, mining never looks nice. But is the effect of mining a perpetual problem? I would say probably not. I think within a few decades, most mines turn into weird-looking countryside. Anyway, moving on. However, the biggest threat to these seals is climate change, according to Dr. Kit Kovacs, co-chair of IUCN's Species Survival Commission. What even is that word? Piniped? Piniped Specialist Group whatever. It's a group. They specialize in seals, apparently. Each year in Svalbard, which is pretty cold, the retreating sea ice reveals how threatened Arctic seals have become, making it harder for them to breed, rest, and feed, she explained. Their plight is a stark reminder that climate change is not a distant problem. Well, climate always changes, love. Whether it's a problem or not is mostly subjective. It's been unfolding for decades and is having impacts here and now. Protecting Arctic seals goes beyond these species. It's about safeguarding the Arctic's delicate balance, which is essential for us all. The Red List update also revealed that 61% of all birds have declining populations, with species living in Madagascar, West Africa, and Central America most at risk. Why those places? Are they the most developing? They would appear to be. Places that are adhering to climate enthusiasm, let's call it. This is mostly due to habitat loss driven by agricultural expansion and logging, according to IUCN. That 3 in 5 of the world's bird species have declining populations shows how deep the biodiversity crisis has become and how urgent it is that the government takes the actions they have committed to under multiple conventions and agreements, said Dr. Ian Burfield, BirdLife Global Science Coordinator, Species, and also Bird Red List Authority Coordinator. He's a very busy chap, that chap. Dr. Ian Burfield, well done, sir. The green sea turtle, on the other hand, has actually improved in status from endangered to least concern. Nobody gives a damn about you bloody green turtles. Go away. Since the 1970s, populations have increased by about 28% thanks to conservation efforts focusing on protecting nesting females and their eggs on beaches. Well done, sir. The ongoing global recovery of the green turtle is a powerful example of what coordinated global conservation over decades can achieve to symbolize and even restore populations of long-lived marine species, said Roderick Mast, co-chair of IUCN Species Survival Commission Marine Turtle Specialist Group. Deep breath. Sadly, the Red List updated also sees 6 species removed to the extinct category. Damn it. This includes the Christmas Island shrew. Oh no, I mustn't laugh. No, it's tiny, but it deserves it. Not to die, obviously, but deserves to live. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not really very well educated. I'm just a pig, man. First female direwolf is brought back from extinction. We see what's going on here. She appears to be biting the other one's face. Good girl. Brace yourselves. Here's a video.
Today was the first day we introduced Khaleesi to her brothers Romulus and Remus. They actually got to share the same space and interact. We had Romulus out into a grass yard, and then we went ahead and we helped bring Khaleesi out. So at first she was a little like, whoa, it's right there. You know, he came up, he was very good. Everybody was showing great behaviors of being comfortable. She smelled him, he smelled her, and then she took off running, and he, of course, ran with her. She's an incredibly smart little direwolf, and she was using the logs in the area to help her feel more secure. And she's small enough that she can make it under some of the logs, and Romulus couldn't.
I don't know, was that fascinating or not? The update comes just 1 month ahead of the UN Climate Change Conference, which will be held in Belém, Brazil, from the 10th to the 21st of November. As we look ahead to the climate COP in Belém, the governments and communities have a pivotal opportunity to accelerate action that protects biodiversity, stabilizes our climate, and builds a future where people and nature flourish together. Dr. Aguila added. Researchers claim the Earth is going through a man-made 6th mass extinction with the biological annihilation of wildlife. Yeah, I mean, that may be true, but also at the same time, with genetic engineering, there's going to be a lot of speciation going on, whether you like it or not. Things are going to get pretty wacky. Let's say in a hypothetical situation, genetic engineering becomes very popular and people start hacking animals together to create hybrids and such. And then maybe thousands of years later, humans go extinct, or we become technologically regressed in some way. Maybe there might be some strange creatures that are left over as a result of that, maybe. I often think the duck-billed platypus, if you wanted to play with the idea of there being potentially a much more advanced human civilization thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years ago, I don't know, that became as or more advanced than us, I don't think that's such a bad idea if you're thinking about origins of potentially extraterrestrials and such. Humans have been around for almost, from what I've heard, almost 500,000 years. And we've been pretty smart for most of that, I imagine. So there's been ample time for lots of advancements. And a mammal with a beak that lays eggs with flippers, has poisonous spines. What else does it do? The platypus is a unique egg-laying mammal native to eastern Australia, known for its duck-like bill, webbed feet, and beaver-like tail. It's a monotreme. It lays eggs but nurses its own young with milk, and males possess venomous spurs on their hind feet. Platypuses are semi-aquatic, using their sensitive bills to detect prey underwater and their webbed front feet for swimming and digging burrows in stream banks. I think this dude was just an experiment tens of thousands of years ago. Those civilizations were drowned probably by whatever went on in the big floods. And the platypuses just stuck around. They were like, no, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stick around. Maybe there were even weirder things. Maybe going full conspiracy weirdness, maybe mermaids were a transhuman experiment. Maybe they are, in fact, the descendants of the Atlanteans who are now living an aquatic life under the waves. But yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about there being a giant extinction that we're responsible for, are you also going to include the species that we might be responsible for bringing into existence, whether you agree with doing that or not? We're not far off being able to create weird chimeras like a platypus anyway. So you may not like it, but here it comes. That's just my opinion. And I think there's still obviously a really good argument for being cautious about looking after the environment. Don't need to be dirty swines. But there's a bigger picture out there. And a lot of these environmentalists, I don't think really pay much attention to that bigger picture. But that is it for now. Thank you for joining me. And yeah, Pigwig out.
Oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oink, oink, wee, squeal, snort, snort, oinkity, squee. Oink, 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 squee, squee, wee, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 wee, 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 oh. Snort, snuffle, oink, squee, squeal, wee, snort, oinkity, oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, wee, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, 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 squee, squee, wee, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 wee, 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 oh. Oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, wee, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, 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 squee, squee, wee, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 wee, 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 oh. Squeal, squeal. Snort, snuffle, oink, re, squeal, re, snort, oinky, oinkity, oink, 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 snuffle, re, squeeze, snort, oink, squeal, oink, oink, oinkity, squeeze, squee, re, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 re,